Prince William exploded, and can you blame him? Absolutely not. By releasing pictures of Archie and Lily at Althorp with flowers about to visit Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
Prince William has made a bold, shocking, dramatic move, one that nobody can stop him from doing. With this, he has said enough is enough. You will not exploit the remains of my dead mother.
Charles, you are a legend of Fleet Street. Can you give us a ballpark figure of the value of a photograph of Meghan and the kids back in the UK? What would that go for?
Oh, six figures without a shadow. That's
Wow.
Prince William was absolutely livid, and honestly, who could blame him? Picture this: intimate photos of Archie and Lily, captured at an Orthodox ceremony with flowers in hand, poised to pay their respects at Princess Diana's grave. This tender moment, meant to be private and sacred, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight without permission. For a couple who have already weathered serious scrutiny and controversy over the years, this felt like a new low, an unsettling new boundary crossed. It's clear to many that the reason William's reaction was so fierce is that this is just the tip of the iceberg, a signal of bigger challenges on the horizon. Now, let's rewind for a moment and bring in Charles, a veteran in the world of royal photography and British media, often called a legend of Fleet Street for his deep experience.
Meghan Markle knows what she's doing. Meghan Markle is not a dumb girl. In my opinion, she's a narcissist, she's a sociopath, she understands how the game is played. She was not gonna go to Diana's gravesite and not post a picture. I wanna know who's taking the picture in the black bathing suit. I will also say, because this is why y'all tune into this show, she's not delivering it like Princess Diana, but she must really think she's hot stuff.
This couple who have stooped to disgusting lows in their past, I personally believe hit a new one. And the reason that Prince William is so concerned about this, of course, is that it's just the beginning.
When asked how much a photo like this Meghan and the kids during a private visit in the UK would be worth, his answer carries weight. This isn't just about a candid family shot, it's a snapshot steeped in profound history and emotion. Remember, Meghan and Harry once created two major documentaries, one aired by the BBC and another by ITV, both centered on their mother's tragic passing. These documentaries were promised to be their definitive and final statement on the matter. After 2 decades of silence, the two brothers had finally found the strength to open up, channel their pain, and heal together publicly. This was their closure, a way to lay the past to rest. Fast forward 10 years, and suddenly Harry is back in the spotlight, using the memory of his mother in new commercial ventures. This development understandably cuts deep for William. It's not just a surprise, it was almost expected given the tension between the siblings. Yet, what's most concerning is the unmistakable pattern emerging. Children are now being used as pawns in a larger game, leveraged for social media buzz, headline-grabbing attention, and brand amplification. The stakes feel incredibly high, and the fallout from this unfolding drama could shift the royal family dynamics in ways no one is prepared for.
He made 2 documentaries with Harry, one for the BBC, one for ITV. It was on the strict understanding that these were to be the final word on their mother's death. 20 years on, 2 brothers who had come through the trauma were able to talk about it, were able to share their feelings and close the chapter. And so, of course, 10 years on, the fact that Harry is now back here commercializing his mother's death is going to upset William. I don't think it surprises him. I think he knew this was coming.
And then there's the money. Because really, why else would someone put their children on Instagram or use their family story as public entertainment? I've got 2 kids myself. They're grown now, and you won't find a single photo of them on my social media. There's no reward, no incentive for me to broadcast their lives for strangers to consume. It's a deeply personal boundary, one I respect and one that's not being respected here. The impact of this overexposure is something he will feel very deeply. He sits silently, watching it all unfold, steeling himself like he's been taught. Hold your emotions close. Don't react. Don't give them the satisfaction. But there's one inviolable rule he learned from the start. Don't ever let anyone harm or exploit his mother's memory. Don't drag her life and legacy out onto a public stage for all to dissect it like a showpiece. That line, the one guarding his mother's honor, cross it, and you unlock a side of him most people don't ever see. It's a hardness, a stillness, like a force that halts time itself. And that's exactly what he witnessed, as it happened right there on the screen of the very phones we were all clutching, a moment seared into memory. You won't be hearing any official response from him anytime soon, if ever, because that's not how Kensington works.
Most definitely. They are now leveraging the kids for clicks, for headlines, to boost their brand, and for money. Why else would you put your kids on Instagram? I got 2 kids, they're grown up, they're not on my social media. I'm not incentivized in any way to share images of my children with the public.
Prince William was consulted. In spite of being a minor, he had a say on where his mother was going to be buried. At the time, he decided that it would be Althorp because nobody's going to bother her, nor harass her or exploit her. Most importantly, he thought that his mother would finally find peace.
No carefully crafted statements, no strategic leaks slipped to the media to soften the blow or control the narrative. Instead, what you get is silence, an unspoken refusal to engage. All the stories and theories floating around come from experts and insiders who've watched these 2 brothers over the course of 2 decades. And they all point to the same chilling conclusion. He isn't grieving in the way most would expect. This is something colder, something more absolute than sadness. It's the kind of finality where you realize a chapter has slammed shut and there's no going back. The quiet that now radiates from the palace walls is deafening. It's the loudest statement of all. That silence is not just emptiness, it's a damning marker of just how deeply this has shaken the core of what these brothers represent. It tells you everything about what's been lost, what's been shattered, and the irreversible rupture that no one knows how to repair. The real story isn't the photograph itself, it's what led to that door being open in the first place and why she was even allowed to step through it. To truly grasp the storm that erupted afterward, you have to rewind about 2 weeks, back to an exclusive room at Highgrove. This wasn't an ordinary family moment. In fact, it was a reunion almost no one was permitted to witness, and yet it has since sparked global debate and intense discussion. This gathering wasn't birthed from a calm, quiet mending of old wounds, far from it.
As for Prince William, of course he is disgusted because this is one of his, how do you put it, Brittany, real sensitive spots. Like, yes, he does ignore Harry day to day. He doesn't want to talk about Harry. He doesn't want to talk about Meghan. He just wants to get on with things.
So their royal return came with King Charles's blessing. They were so lucky to be allowed back into the United Kingdom, because I can tell you that this government that we have at the moment are trying to tighten up illegal immigration, and they're trying to keep certain characters out of the country who have no right to be here. And I would include Harry and Meghan as 2 unwelcome aliens after everything they've done to the country.
At its core, it was the result of one man's deliberate choice, a choice made despite the strong resistance and concern of his elder son, who has never once placed trust in these 2 individuals during his entire life. The king's health is fragile, and out of respect, I won't dive into the details, preserving the dignity this situation demands. But here's the unspoken truth many feel: a father, after facing something life-altering like an illness, begins to take stock. He counts the days and weighs the moments left to him. In that reflection, he saw grandchildren whom he had barely glimpsed in years, a heartbreaking reality for a man in his position. That realization pushed him to make a profoundly personal decision, one that he otherwise might never have entertained. He opened the gates to those whom his son had vehemently told him to shut out. And perhaps what's even more striking is how carefully and quietly this reunion was orchestrated. There were no cameras, no press announcements, not a single word spilled to the public. It took place entirely behind closed doors, in near total secrecy.
King Charles asked them to keep their mouths shut, especially about their meeting. But a lot of people would be really upset if that did come to fruition in the UK specifically. I don't think taxpayers want to pay for the Harry and Meghan circus.
No.
And it's likely very frustrating for them to see that King Charles just met with them.
Queen Camilla went to the Harry and Meghan reunion because the king needed a witness to make sure that they couldn't lie about what happened and that they couldn't lie about what was said. That's how low the trust is. So if Harry thinks he's home and hosed with Charles, good luck with that. But the bottom line is that they stuck within the rules. But Meghan gets a picture of Archie and Lily, an extension of her brand, extension of her identity, and it's in England and it's at the Diana estate.
By all accounts, the Queen herself made a special visit to be there in that intimate space, emphasizing just how significant and delicate this moment was. It wasn't just about the meeting, it was about reclaiming lost connections, about time running out, and about the quiet decisions made far from the public eye that would ripple out to captivate the world's attention. Imagine this moment etched into memory, not as a warm embrace of a rekindled family bond, but as something far more fragile, tense, and filled with unspoken caution. It wasn't a cozy reunion filled with laughter and forgiveness. No, it was the exact opposite. Picture a man, worn down by years of struggle and frustrated hopes, cautiously extending what might be his final peace offering, his hands tense yet careful, like he's bracing himself for the inevitable sting of betrayal. Every fiber of his being whispering warnings not from paranoia, but from hard-earned wisdom that suggests this kindness might one day be twisted, exploited, or turned against him. This was no naive gesture of love. It was born from wariness, from the ache of past wounds that had never fully healed. William, so enigmatic and troubled, loathed every moment of this encounter. To him, those doors should have remained shut tight, sealed shut against future heartbreak. He feared his compassion would be mistaken for weakness, a token to be bartered and sold like a commodity.
They're under the impression that he might be privy to the plan or a part of the plan.
I think they can soften him up, but I think with William and Camilla together, I think there is absolutely no chance of that happening. I think you'll find the king did it for a good reason, and I'm sure he loved it. I mean, I was reading that they FaceTime all the time, that's fine. But I just think he's probably far more aware of what potentially can go wrong than ever before.
And his words now, so full of sharp edge and simmering fury, speak volumes not just about anger at one person, but a deeper, more painful frustration. He's furious because he was right all along. Right about the risks, about the fractures no one wanted to acknowledge, and because his warnings came true, and worse, the consequences fell on his father's fragile spirit. The rage he carries isn't random. It's a heavy, cold fury reserved for those moments in life when you're ignored, dismissed as bitter, and then forced to witness the very disaster you foresaw unravel before your eyes, powerless to stop it. And here's the heartbreaking truth. Within just 10 days, that careful, guarded afternoon meant to be a once-in-a-lifetime chance at healing was shattered utterly. What had been a private, heartfelt moment granted by his ailing father, a gesture taken at a great cost to pride and pain, suddenly morphed without warning into something unrecognizable. It became just the first scene in a whirlwind of public spectacle, a parade of moments seemingly designed for show rather than sincerity.
A total betrayal, having promised King Charles that their UK return would be private and discreet. The Sussexes have proved once again that they cannot be trusted, folks. You cannot do business with these people.
We get to Rob Shooting's new reporting over Prince William's reaction to that. He also alleges that King Charles is even shocked. Well, I'm not sure how shocked King Charles is, to be honest, given he's made this offer for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace. I think these days Charles just ignores what Harry is doing because he doesn't want to know the reality of quite how low his son, his youngest, has stooped.
The king, in an act that transcended wealth and influence, gave a gift that money simply cannot purchase. But that priceless offering was met with a tide that betrayed the quiet hope and fragile trust behind it, setting off a cascade of events no one saw coming, a summer of surprises, heartbreak, and revelations. From the moment she stepped into that family's private world, she held an exclusive key one that she wasted no time exploiting. Before 2 weeks were even up, she had already turned that access into something far more powerful. Now, this is where the usual sympathy for the grieving family starts to crumble. Because what was presented as a raw, intimate glimpse behind closed doors was anything but accidental or spontaneous. That photo we all saw, it was carefully and deliberately crafted from start to finish. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what did we never see? Throughout their entire trip, not a single candid shot was leaked. No sneaky paparazzi snapping through hedges, no blurry distant pictures of their car pulling up, no surreptitious airport captures.
I think William completely and utterly respects that. Everything William and his family have done at Althorp has been completely and utterly private. I don't even think we're aware of a trip they've made there. And I think that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong also as well with Harry and Meghan visiting, but commercializing it. I mean, that should just be a glaring warning sign to Charles that Harry and Meghan have no boundaries.
No secret shots of the estate they so carefully retreated to. For two people who have spent half a decade claiming they can't even step outside without being relentlessly pursued, this visit was astonishingly airtight, ghost-like in its silence and secrecy. No one came close to them. No one was able to breach those carefully guarded walls. And then, out of nowhere, she posts those images herself. She hands the photos directly to the public on Instagram, meaning these aren't accidental glimpses caught by a hidden camera. They're selectively curated and handed over on her terms. The only glimpses we received of that gravesite were precisely the ones she chose to share. Look closer at what she gave us. Notice how the children deliberately face away from the camera, shielding themselves from our view. The long row of trees, perfectly framed like a cinematic poster, draws your eye down a peaceful, almost reverent path. The flowers are placed with obvious care, arranged neatly.
Have we ever seen photos of Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and or their children at this hallowed place? We have not. I columned on this over at the Daily Mail over the weekend. That is the nadir for Meghan. I mean, it's the bottom. I mean, just when you think she cannot go lower, she outdoes herself. As I've always said, Meghan's the best at being the worst.
It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it? This is a woman who's claimed for years that all she wants for her family is privacy, and then she commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see.
As if on command. This isn't the casual snapshot of a family grieving privately, scrambling to capture a fleeting moment. It's a staged scene, a production, every detail polished, everyone positioned exactly as if on a carefully directed set, faces deliberately turned back from the camera, hands arranged to appear natural but clearly styled. This was a planned presentation, choreographed down to the smallest detail to convey a certain mood, a certain message. This wasn't an unguarded moment of grief. It was a controlled, cinematic portrayal designed to shape how the world sees that family's sorrow. And once you start to realize that, everything else about the story begins to feel less spontaneous and far more calculated. This image stands out as one of the most remarkable and carefully crafted moments this pair has ever shared with the world. And we must not forget who we're talking about here, a couple known for their extraordinary control over their public image. This is a pair who have taken the drastic step of going to court multiple times, simply because a single photo was released without their permission. They have pursued legal action repeatedly, all for a shot taken with a long lens capturing their own children.
No photos, no publicity, no interviews. Good luck with that. This is Meghan Markle we're talking about. My husband. So Meghan couldn't resist, could she? She just couldn't help herself, bending the rules with a huge photo drop on her Instagram, publicizing her UK return. She had to show off. She had to flex her muscles. She had to send a very clear message. I am back. I'm the Duchess with a capital D, and I'm an English royal princess all over again.
It's not just a matter of protecting privacy, it's a demonstration of utter control. Over the past 6 years, not a single image of theirs has surfaced without their consent. It just doesn't happen. They don't lose control. So, to believe that this particular image taken at such a solemn and tightly guarded location, of all places, was some kind of spontaneous, accidental release is frankly insulting to anyone familiar with their meticulous approach. You don't wind up with a photo this powerful and perfect at the most closely watched grave in Britain by chance. This kind of precision suggests something else entirely. Someone planned this down to the smallest detail, walked the ground multiple times, and knew exactly the impact and value of the final shot well before it ever saw the light of day. And that brings us to the absolute core question: who stands to benefit from this image, and what purpose does it serve? You simply don't invest so much care, energy, and control into a picture intended for a simple family keepsake. No, this is just the opening frame in a much larger story waiting to unfold.
Do not be deluded to believe that Harry and Meghan do not have a whole year to slowly but surely commercialize the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Yes, it's gross and grim, but this couple are increasingly desperate and they need money. And where is the money going to come from? We know it's from a likely Netflix documentary, I believe it will end up on Netflix, being filmed at the Althorp estate.
There is a significant date lurking ahead, one that suddenly sharpens everything into crystal clear focus: the 31st of August, 2027. This date marks a full 30 years since the night that shattered this family apart forever. And interestingly, the television world is already on high alert, circling this particular day on their calendars with anticipation. What will unfold? What stories will be told? The entire media industry knows that something profound is building, and this carefully curated image is the first piece of a far bigger puzzle. It's as if this photo was designed not just to be seen, but to set the stage for a moment that overshadows everything that came before it. Grief on such a monumental scale, tied to a significant anniversary, becomes a priceless commodity for whoever manages to shape and share that story. We've already seen just how massive those numbers can get. Think back to the last big Diana anniversary. The tribute films crafted by networks drew in audiences bigger than anything they had seen in years. The public's fascination with Diana is relentless. It never fades, it never wanes.
And let me be clear, that is not me suggesting that there were big fat camera crews there, because Meghan and Harry are far too smart for that, far too crafty to be accused of that. But the footage is all here. It's all you need. It's all Netflix needed for the documentary. As long as they have enough material on their mobile phones at the Althorp site, it is very likely that Netflix, or another streaming service potentially, of course it has to be offered to Netflix first, will pay out the big bucks.
This enduring obsession becomes a powerful lure for those who see opportunity beyond mere respect or decorum. It reaches past the boundaries of what many consider tasteful or appropriate, and so the murmurings began subtle but persistent, the kind of whispers that refuse to be silenced, no matter how quickly denials flood the airwaves, that there is a couple with much to prove, and an anniversary perfectly timed, planning to seize the moment. They intend to narrate Diana's story, but on their own terms, exclusively through their own platform, captured intimately on camera. This isn't just idle gossip from distant bystanders or casual critics. Angela Levin, a seasoned observer who has followed this duo closely over the years and isn't one to sugarcoat her opinions, stated bluntly without a trace of hesitation that the images from the graveside visit were never meant as a gentle homage. Rather, she saw them as a cold gesture of contempt. According to her, the visit itself was less about paying respects and more about staging a moment, a carefully orchestrated shoot. The entire trip, she suggests, was quietly converted into raw footage, a treasure trove of material to be woven into the film she foresees on the horizon. This project, she believes, is being crafted as a tribute, albeit through a very personal lens, for his mother, the woman he says he cherishes deeply.
It's just terrible. They are so full of nastiness and getting their own feelings back on everybody. They don't care. I just don't understand how Harry could want to do this. This is for his mother, who he loves, so he says, and to turn it into a show is just...
All of these pictures have a particular meaning. All of them are designed to clap back at certain elements of our coverage over the past few weeks. She knows exactly what she's doing here, including the weird cosplaying of Princess Diana and the even weirder decision to try and overshadow Prince George's 13th birthday with new pictures of Archie.
Turning this private moment into a public spectacle truly sparks a heated debate. Have we, at any point in time, ever glimpsed a single photograph of William and Catherine's children at Althorp? The answer is a resounding no. This detail is deliberately highlighted to make a poignant point. Harry and Meghan are unique in sharing images of their children at Althorp, Diana's ancestral home. Meanwhile, William and Catherine have maintained a strict boundary. No such images have ever been released from their side. Why? Because they embody a sense of discretion and reverence, understanding that some spaces, especially those tied to deep family history and loss, should remain untouched by the public eye. Remember, Diana's final resting place on that private island was carefully chosen. The family guarded her graveside vigilantly to ensure it wouldn't turn into a spectacle, not a bustling tourist stop or a sensational headline generator.
The last, 8-10 years of all the outfits she's copied of Diana's. And, it's actually quite Oedipal and weird. It's almost as if she's trying to remind Harry, I'm Mummy. And remember, you married
I'm Mummy and
woman.
I'm still in her perfume.
Yes, exactly. I'm the woman that your mother sent you to marry. I'm embodying her spirit.
Meghan does not show the children's faces, and so that therefore this is somehow their privacy is being protected. It's completely absurd, frankly, because what Meghan is doing by not showing the faces or by revealing them very slowly, by revealing side portions or half portions, is feeding what marketers call a curiosity gap.
It was meant to be a peaceful sanctuary, a sacred space where respect and privacy come first. And this is where Maureen's perspective comes into sharp focus. She argues that Harry and Meghan's choice to visit Althorp during their UK trip, and more critically, their decision to share photos from this deeply personal place, shifted the dynamic. By posting images of Archie and Lilibet at the estate, a place tied to both memory and mourning, they effectively transformed a private family sanctuary into content for public consumption. This action is seen by Maureen as a move to generate clicks, headlines, and ultimately to elevate their personal brand. Money and publicity are hard to separate from this narrative, as these photographs become marketing tools rather than respectful remembrances. So, naturally, one wonders how William, Harry's brother, might have received this intrusion into what he and Catherine consider a sacred family domain.
What's happening, I think, with Archie and Lily is they're being brought front and centre into the Sussex brand. They've been referenced when it comes to their charity work and Archwell Philanthropies, which, by the way, changes its name every 10 minutes because that's another hot mess. Consider that Prince William has visited Diana's grave. Surely with Catherine, Princess of Wales, and their children, have we ever seen a photo of them at Althorp? So she's pointing out that Harry and Meghan take pictures of their kids at Althorp. We've never seen that from William and Catherine. She said, of course we haven't seen it from William and Catherine. William and Catherine are decent, serious people who understand that some things are sacred.
Would he see it as an unwelcome breach or as a necessary gesture? It's a crucial question, especially considering the significance of the recent royal reunion. But here's the key insight. Meghan, ever the savvy communicator, needed that photograph. In their world, the image is often the headline. It conveys messages more powerfully than words sometimes can. Journalists often say, if you don't have the photo, you don't have the story. Meghan understood this perfectly. She recognized that without visually capturing their presence at Althorp, the story she wanted to tell, one of connection, legacy, and family, would lose its impact. And so, with strategic intention, she put out that photograph, fully aware of its ripple effects across royal circles and public opinion alike. Archie and Lily found themselves at the heart of a place steeped in history and poignant memories, the childhood home of Diana, Princess of Wales. This is not just any location, it's where Diana was laid to rest, a quiet sanctuary filled with deep emotional resonance for so many.
Diana was buried on that island at her family's private residence, Althorp, precisely to keep her graveside from becoming a circus, a tourist attraction, a commodity. And of course, what Maureen is arguing is that that's what Harry and Meghan have done by going there on this UK trip and publishing this photograph. They're publishing photographs of the Althorp estate, Diana's childhood home, and her resting place, and they're putting it on Instagram with Archie and Lily for clicks, for headlines to boost their brand, and for money.
What's difficult for the king is, as we said, he wants to meet his grandchildren. He wants the meeting to take place. I'm sure you've got William there saying, Dad, you've got to be really, really careful because this could completely backfire. And I'm sure William doesn't want it to backfire, but I think there's been already quite a few occasions where William's probably turned around to his father and sadly said, see, Dad, I told you so. And it's really awkward for the king because, this is his son he probably knows his son is right with what he's saying, but he's still a father, he's still a grandfather, and he's still trying to do that job as well.
For Meghan, this moment was more than just a trip. It was a deliberate, subtle announcement. I'm back. But this return wasn't through direct confrontation or headline-grabbing declarations. Meghan used her children, Archie and Lily, as living symbols standing in as proxies. They became the faces and vessels of the Sussex brand in the public eye, embodying Meghan's own identity and message. It's a complex and calculated move because, unlike a product launched with fanfare or an anniversary marked by celebration, this wasn't something naturally offered or granted. It was a grasping at a legacy she has long felt entitled to but never formally received. This is a woman reaching once again, extending her hand toward the one name that still carries immense power and opens doors worldwide. And she chose to do it using 2 young children and the solemn setting of a graveside, a mix of innocence and gravitas that could hardly be ignored.
What do you think Harry's brother, William, will have made of the royal reunion?
My gut is he would have probably said to his father to be cautious.
Yeah.
I think he would obviously not want to be there for very obvious reasons. I think he'd been very keen. I'm sure he would love to be a fly on the wall, but I'm sure his father updated him right after the meeting as to what all took place.
I think probably if they had just shut up, sort of Duke of Windsor, Wallace Simpson style, released a very banal book about the British royal family, hadn't done the Oprah lies, hadn't done the Netflix attacks, hadn't ridden spare, probably there would have been people who were prepared to just write them checks to do nothing.
What makes this moment even more heartrending, even more complex, is the timing. A grandfather, already weakened by age and illness, put aside his own pride, the tensions within the family, and the warnings from his own son, simply to spend precious time with his grandchildren before the opportunity slipped away forever. It was an act of quiet grace and hopeful reconciliation, yet what did he receive in return? A private act of kindness was twisted and transformed into a public promotion, repurposed to serve precisely the brand that is relying heavily on the legacy of his mother's revered name to break into new arenas. William anticipated every step of this carefully choreographed scene.
But look, this is important. Meghan needed a photo because the photo is always the story. Ask any journalist. And she didn't have it. And so, but because she's so smart, she realized that if she puts out a photograph of Archie and Lily at the Althorp estate, which is of course the childhood home of Diana, Princess of Wales, and where she was laid to rest, that's Meghan's subtle way of saying, I'm back. And of course, using the kids, because Archie and Lily are a proxy for the Sussex brand. They're a proxy for Meghan's public identity.
He saw the strategy unfolding well before it made the headlines. And he wasn't silent. He voiced his concerns directly to the one individual who had the authority to keep the door closed and prevent this whole chapter from reopening. He warned clearly, but as events show, those cautions were unmet, setting the stage for this charged family saga to continue playing out in the public spotlight. Once dismissed as merely a bitter outburst, the fallout has now left one figure standing alone amid the ruins, silenced, but with forgiveness finally exhausted beyond repair. The question people keep tossing around, did Meghan push things too far this time, misses the point entirely. She went exactly as far as she intended. The real question that remains is what the brother will do now. How does he respond when the family continues to swing open its doors, knowingly inviting her back? Do they truly understand the price they could pay the next time she crosses that threshold? This isn't just about one clash. It's about a pattern repeating until someone breaks free from the cycle. The stakes only rise with each encounter, and the cost isn't always measured in words. It's felt deeply in the quiet fractures that grow under the surface. Now,
they're willing to commercialize anything to make money because Meghan has very, very expensive taste. And unfortunately, she married quite a dim man who can't actually make money at the end of the day. Who would have thunk it? But she thought he can make money. He can't. And so they're just going to mine Harry's family until the end of time where Meghan finally finds a richer man to marry. And that's just so incredibly squeamish and ugly and disgusting.
Harry must never feel safe when Meghan is around, because if he knew that she was snapping away and they were personal moments that the world was never going to see, maybe he'd be okay with that. But given the so-called deep trauma that he has spoken about all the time in regards to camera flashes, there is a great irony now that the real woman who he needs to be the real thing he needs to be protected from is his own woman, who's constantly flashing away.
this is where you come in. I've never seen a tribute tangled in so much complexity, or one that needed a professional lens to sharpen the edges of the story. Do you believe Prince William is justified in drawing a firm line in the sand this time? Or do you think old feelings and unresolved wounds are coloring his judgment? I want to hear your thoughts. Don't hold anything back. Every comment is read, and your voice matters here. If you found value in this deep dive, please tap that like button. It truly helps this channel reach those who want the real scoop on how this family operates behind closed doors. And don't forget to subscribe, because there's much more coming soon. Up next, we're going to put everything side by side, all the Diana images this duo has delicately staged in the past, down to the photographer, the patterns, and the entire carefully orchestrated setup. You won't want to miss how these moments connect and what they reveal as a whole. Stay tuned and be sure to come back. There's a story unfolding, still waiting to be told.